Part-3, Chapter 3, Saviours of the Train. Up to Part-2, we have seen the three siblings tried to stop the train to avoid the accident. So they wanted to show the red cloth and they were searching for the flagstaffs. Then what happened? Quickly, the children cut holes in the flags and ran the sticks through them. Then they stood ready to wave the red flags as soon as the train came in sight. They got the sticks or the flagstaffs and they tied the red scarves on that flags and they stood ready to wave the red flags as soon as the train came in sight. Actually, it was time to come the train. Bobby began to feel sick with suspense. It seemed to her that they had been standing there for hours and hours, holding those silly little red flags that no one would ever notice. But Bobby began to feel sick with suspense. That means she didn't know that what would have happened or what is going to happen. And it seems to her that they had been standing there for hours and hours. They had been standing there for a long time, holding those silly little red flags that no one would ever notice. The train wouldn't care. It would go rushing by them and tear round the corner and go crashing into the awful mound. And she feared that no one would ever notice their red scarves and the train would go rushing by them and tear round the corner and go crashing into that awful mound. It's only she's thinking that only, nothing happened. She thought that no one would notice the red scarves and the train would go rushing by them and the accident would happen and everyone would be killed. Her hands grew very cold and trembled so that she could hardly hold the flag. And then came the distant rumble and hum of the metals, and a puff of white steam shoved far away along the stretch of line. Now, here while she was thinking these all things, she was very tensed, and while she was thinking these all things, at that time, the continuous noise of the metals and a puff of white steam. Okay, this is the symbol of the train's arrival. It shoved far away along the stretch of line. That means the train was just near to them. "Stand firm," said Peter, "and wave like mad. As the train comes closer, step back, but go on waving. Don't stand on the line, Bobby." Then Peter wanted to give courage to them. He said, "Stand firm, stand straight, stand bold, and wave like mad. As the train comes closer, step back, but go on waving." He was giving instructions. And don't stand on the line. When the train comes, then step back, but go on waving. But remember that, don't stand on the line, Bobby. The train came rattling along very, very fast. The front of the engine looked black and enormous. Its voice was loud and harsh. Yeah, here the train comes near to them. Then what happened? "Oh, stop, stop, stop," cried Bobby. No one heard her. At least Peter and Phyllis didn't, for the oncoming rush of the train covered the sound of her voice with a mountain of sound. But afterwards she used to wonder whether the engine itself had not heard her. So here, "Oh, stop, stop, stop." We have already read that Bobby was a little tensed. So when the train comes closer to her, She cried, "Stop, stop, stop," but no one heard her. At least Peter and Phyllis didn't, because the oncoming rush of the train covered the sound of her voice. The sound of the train covered the voice of her, and nobody heard her voice. But afterwards, she used to wonder whether the engine itself had not heard her. It seemed almost as though it had, for it slackened swiftly, slackened and stopped, not 20 yards from the place where Bobby's 2 flags waved over the line. And she thought that even the engine, here engine means the engine driver, nobody heard the cry of Bobby. So she doubted that the train may not be stopped. But her doubt was not correct, not true. The train slackened swiftly, that means became slower, and then stopped. Not 20 yards from the place where Bobby's 2 flags waved over the line. Just near to Bobby, the train stopped. She saw the great black engine stop dead, but somehow she could not stop waving the flags. Actually, she was in a state of wonder and she couldn't believe herself. So, maybe she was not in a conscious mind, and she was continuing waving the flags. And when the driver and the fireman had got off the engine, and Peter and Phyllis had gone to meet them and poured out their excited tale of the awful mound just round the corner. So when the train stopped, the engine driver and the fireman came near to Phyllis and Peter. That time they were explaining the problems and what would have happened if the train had not stopped. Bobby still waved the flags, but more and more feebly and jerkily. At that time also Bobby was not coming to the conscious mind. She couldn't believe the train had stopped. So she was waving her flags still feebly, that means weakly and jerkily. Jerkily means moving suddenly, sometimes stops and then again starts. That type of movement. When the station was reached, the 3 were the heroes of an agitated meeting on the platform. Agitated means excited. The praises they got for their prompt action, their common sense, their ingenuity were enough to have turned anybody's head. Here, and they got praised for their prompt action. That means the sudden action, sudden and useful action, and their common sense, their ingenuity. Ingenuity means the ability to solve the problems cleverly. They were praised for these all good qualities. And Phyllis enjoyed herself thoroughly. She had never been a real heroine before, and the feeling was delicious. Peter's ears got very red, yet he too enjoyed himself. That means Peter and Phyllis was enjoying this all praising and all the things, but Bobby wished they all wouldn't. She wanted to get away. Actually, she is the eldest one. So she didn't want to happen these all things. That means she didn't like, and she wanted to get away. She wanted to reach home. "Oh, come away, I want to go home," she said. She was in a hurry to reach the home. So this was the chapter Saviours of the Train. Saviours means to save from something. Here these 3 children, these 3 siblings saved the train from a huge accident. So the chapter's name is Saviours of the Train. I hope you enjoyed the chapter, and you have to learn all the word meanings and question answers. Please read the chapter 2-3 times.